Share screen?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, and how do we pronounce your name? Because you got a unique name.
My name is Zvonimir, but we can go by Z. Everybody calls me Z.
I was gonna say, I don't think
I'm good.
I'll you by your full name.
Yeah, I'm good with Z.
There you go. Oh, there we go. I've never seen that symbol before. I'm just kidding. I know.
Right.
Don't send me an email with COVID, or I'll probably delete it. So, but that's awesome.
Right.
Oh my god.
Yeah, me too. So, are we ready to roll?
Yeah, you go for it. Yep.
All right, cool. So I would like to welcome everybody who joined Susan's initiative to virtually dive into Croatia. I'm actually the owner of a local DMC that Susan works with when her clients are traveling to Croatia, and I'm gonna show you a little bit about Croatia, what we do, and give you a couple of the reasons why you should think about Croatia as your first post-COVID trip once everything opens up. So a little bit about us. So we've been in the business since 2002. It's really been a while. We've welcomed about 100,000 tourists in Croatia and the area. Some of the main reasons why really people like to travel with our company. First of all, we have offices both in the US and in Croatia. So you will get, through Susan, full support during your booking process. If you have any questions, we are ready to answer right away. And then once you actually get to Croatia, you will have a full ground support 24/7 a day. Also, we have direct contacts and direct contracts with hotels, local charters. So it's definitely the best value you will find online. And we will definitely show you and give you the best insiders information about the country that you'll probably not be able to find if you are, Googling and making the research on your own. We do process all the payments in the US or Canadian dollars, so you don't have to worry about any conversions with euros when you make the payments and so on. And we do have great local connections. So a lot of times, clients want to go to that restaurant, but it's sold out, or he wants to go to maybe, some excursion, but it's overbooked and so on. But we will definitely try and make it possible for you regardless of that. So all the services that we do, so we customize each trip to, clients' needs and wants and preferences. Mostly we deal with 4- and 5-star properties and luxury villas. On the other hand, we do have a separate yachting department that's dealing with boats only. So sailboats, catamarans, gullets, yachts, mega yachts, depending on the budget and what the clients are looking for. I will dig more into it later to tell you why the yachting is really important for Croatia. Then we do groups. If you have family of, bigger family or bigger group of friends that want to travel for 8 and more, you get all the benefits of the groups, and we consider it a group, so we can totally handle that as well. If you're on the local cruise, we can do your shore excursions. And in total, we offer about 150 different tours around the area, which you can, use to customize your trip once you decide to travel to Croatia. So these are all the countries. Can I remove this somehow on my left side? Okay, let me see.
I don't see any. All I see is a map.
Okay, I see. I moved it. Cool. So these are all the countries that we actually cover. Italy, we don't cover that much. The only part of Italy that we actually cover is Venice portion. And the reason why the Venice would be right here on the left where my mouse is. So we use it because it's a great way to start or end the trip once you're connecting to Croatia because of the connections and flights with the United States. And then it's only very short ferry ride over to Croatia, only 2.5 hours, and you are in Croatia. Also, the countries that we cover are Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, Serbia, Montenegro, Albania, and Greece. All these countries, but Albania and Greece used to be one country. So it used to be Yugoslavia. And in 1991, then we all separated when the homeland war happened between Serbia and Croatia.
I didn't realize
this is the map.
It went all the way behind the other country. That's like in blue. I didn't realize it went behind Bosnia.
Yeah, behind Bosnia, all the way to the Serbia. And above Croatia, like right here, this is Hungary. So this is Hungary right here, and this is Austria. So if you ever use Vienna as an airport, or possibly you're on a river cruise and ending or starting in Budapest,
Yeah.
it's a very, very short, easy ride over to Croatia, very, very easily connectable. So this is the map of Croatia exclusively. I just wanted to show you the main airports when you are arriving here. So on your right side in this picture in small, you will see all these airports that we have in Croatia. These are all international airports. However, mostly used are Zagreb, which is the capital of Croatia, Dubrovnik, Split, and Zadar. Those are the best connections wherever you go in Europe or connecting with any European country. The only airport that's directly connected to Croatia, it's actually Philadelphia, and it flies directly to Dubrovnik. So non-stop flight, Philadelphia to Dubrovnik, and it goes from May up until October. So it's seasonal, but it's directly connected to Croatia. Some fun facts, how actually Croatia and Croatians, we like to say that we are shaping today's world. So some of the things that we use every day today are actually invented by Croatians or in Croatia. So number one would be the necktie. We invented the mechanical pencil. The Nikola Tesla was born in Croatia. That's we have the electricity because of him. Marco Polo, the world famous traveler, was born in the island of Korčula. We invented parachute. The biggest truffle ever was found in Croatia. HBO series Game of Thrones, as well as Mamma Mia, was filmed in Croatia. Zinfandel, that's actually Californian wine, is actually, yeah? Yeah, mute. Okay, thanks. Zinfandel is actually originated from Croatia, and we have over 10 authentic wine stores that you can only taste in Croatia as far as the wine goes. So if you're a wine drinker and like wine, Croatia is definitely a spot to go.
Yes. I've been asked a lot about the Game of Thrones type of trips, like how to add in. So you go to some of the movie sets. Is that I never saw the show. I'm terrible.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not a big fan. I watched just couple one, so I can just say, yeah, I watched it. I saw Dubrovnik in there, but I was never a big fan, and hooked on it. But yes, we actually have the guides in various destinations that were part of the filming scenes. So you will get a first-hand experience from our guides to actually see and experience how it was all filmed. So how is Croatia doing with COVID-19? Very popular topic nowadays, so we have to touch base on it. All non-EU residents are not allowed into the Europe until the June 30th, unless it's a business or any other legitimate travel need. After July 1, there is still a possibility that everybody will be allowed, but that's not for sure. I'm hearing nowadays that Americans might not, but let's wait and see what's going to happen with that. As far as our services, all our drivers and guides wear protective gears in the cars. We disinfect cars after each transfer. There is minimum of 1 hour pause between two different transfers. Our booking terms and conditions are very flexible right now. Usually we would take 20% down deposit to actually secure the trip. And now we have a fixed deposit that's fully refundable, and it's only $500, no matter how big of a trip. So if you book a trip that's $20,000-$30,000 or doesn't matter how much, it's a $500 refundable deposit. And also, if you book this year with Susan any trip to Croatia, and if you book more than 7 nights, we will add the extra night in any hotel that you wish along the way on the trip as well. So it's for 2021 or 2022, depending on how long in advance you are looking to actually secure your trip.
Awesome.
So this is just a little intro on Croatia, just to see why should anybody visit Croatia. If you never did your research, this is going to give you great insights why visit it. So number one would definitely be its nature. Croatia has 8 national parks in total, which you can visit. It has 15 natural parks as well, which are protected under UNESCO or not. It doesn't matter. Some are, some aren't. But in total, we have many, many natural wonders that you should visit. These are just some of the national parks that I would like to highlight. Number one is definitely the Plitvice Lakes. So it's 13 interconnected lakes with these waterfalls and wooden paths along the way. It is the oldest national park in Croatia and the only national park that's actually under the UNESCO protection.
Wow.
Next one would be National Park Briuni. It's an island on Istria region that's very, very close to Italy. The Venice, the ferry goes into this area exactly. It used to be Tito's resident, who used to be ex-president of Yugoslavia. So all, you know, politicians and everybody who would go to Croatia, this is where they would meet. And this national park is famous for, of course, Tito's residence and all the animals and everything that he had before it's still here, but also for its golf terrains and polo terrains. So if you are golfers, this would be a place where we would definitely suggest you go. Next would be National Park Mljet. This is actually the greenest island of all in Croatia. And it's actually a world phenomenon because these are the two lakes on top of the hill, on top of the island, but both are salt water. And usually the lakes are not salt water, right? And this is on top of the hill, on top of the island, salt water completely. Amazing way, you know, very secluded island, very not a lot of tourists, not a lot of people, and it's a great way for, you know, daily activities, kayaking, hiking, biking, swimming in the lakes, whatever. So it's really, really gorgeous to go and visit. Next would be National Park Kornati. It's 116 little islands and islets out on the water. We call it Sailor's Paradise because, you know, a lot of people just rent the boats, go sailing, perfect winds for sailing. And it's full of little restaurants. If you look at this bay right here, this is one of them. So people have their own restaurants there. In the morning, they go out fishing. And then in the afternoon, when the guests come, there is no menu on the table. You pretty much, you know, get offered whatever they catch that morning. So it's pretty cool. Next one will be National Park Krka. It's actually, we call it Plitvice Lakes in small. It's a lot of waterfalls and coming from the river, not from the lakes like in Plitvice Lakes. But actually it became famous after Anthony Bourdain visited this place. So there is a little town called Skradin, that you have to pass through to actually get into the park. And he tasted one risotto, and it's called Skradin risotto. And what's famous about the risotto is that it's actually prepared for 72 hours. So we actually have to pre-order it before your arrival. And once you get that, you would actually taste something that was being prepared for 72 hours for you.
Oh my God.
And I just I just wanted to pinpoint some of the beaches and some of the islands as far as the nature goes. This was named the most beautiful beach in Croatia for a while. It's called Stiniva Beach on this island.
Wow.
The Golden Whore on Brač. Actually, this beach, it's never the same shape. So they had a drone that was taking video for I don't know how many hours, and it's changing all the time because depending on how the waves are kicking in, that's how this tip of the actual beach is changing as well. So it's never the same shape.
Oh my God.
Pakleni Islands near Hvar area, very turquoise water, very luxurious spot, many restaurants, beach bars, clubs on the water. So definitely a place to visit as well. Next, who should visit Croatia is definitely for those who are, you know, in love in food and wine and love to experience local culture by its food. You know, Croatia used to be governed by many different countries over the years. So we were part of Austro-Hungary, we were part of under Venetians, under Romans. So all that left a huge impact on our food and wine, cuisine, and the way that different areas actually prepare different foods. Actually, 10% of all top olive oil in the world is actually produced in Croatia. So olive oil is definitely one of the top products that Croatia is exporting as our own products. Then we have Eastern truffles. The biggest white truffle ever in the world, we are still holding the Guinness World Record, was found in Croatia, 1.2 kilos. And it was a white truffle, so that guy really got rich after he found it. But we have truffles as well. We have a lot of seafood, so you will see, various fishes, scampi, calamari, all that prepared in a very, very Mediterranean style. We definitely see a lot of Italian influence here. And depending on where you travel within Croatia, we will have and you will witness various type of meats. If you go inland in Zagreb area, you will see a lot of, turkey, you will see a lot of duck. If you go down to the seacoast, you will see a lot of veal, a lot of lamb. So the good thing about Croatia is that wherever you travel, it's so diverse that you can just, you can't say Croatia has one specialty dish that's famous for Croatia. No, it's each region that has its specialty dish, and that's what's really fun about it. And we are the country where Zinfandel originated from. So in 2000, and I believe it was 7 or 2008, Californians tried to protect Zinfandel as their name, but they had to prove that the Zinfandel is actually originated from. And then UCLA did the research, and they found that actually it's Croatian wine from the tree Primitivo, and they couldn't protect it. So since then, Croatia is put on the wine map as the country where Zinfandel originated from. So it's just a fun fact to know.
I was going to ask you a question. I remember you saying this either when we were chatting or whatever, but you had said about food that you have like farms that you guys bring people to that people host, and you can go up to a farm where someone and you have cheese, and you guys can do something like that also, so that you're not just eating at restaurants in cities.
Yeah, exactly. There is a lot of, we call it farm to table restaurants. Yeah. Translated in English, right? Okay. But that's actually people that live there on the farm. They have their own animals, they have their own vegetables, their own fruits. So you pretty much go there and you pretty much eat whatever was, whatever grew there in their garden or whatever animal they fed to be on the table or whatever. So definitely farm to table food restaurants are very, very famous in Croatia. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I love it.
The next, who is Croatia for, is definitely people who like to stay active and adventurous souls, we call it. So we have rivers, we have mountains, we have sea, and we have land. So all that combined is going to give you so many different options. So you can go, for example, sea kayaking, you can go kite surfing, you can go scuba diving, you can go sailing, you can go river rafting, you can go horseback riding, biking. So there is so much to do in Croatia as far as active tourism, that whatever you like to do, if you're an active person, active traveler, there is definitely something we will find for you to do. Next one is for explorers. So a lot of times you hear that, Croatia, it's already so overrun by tourists, that it's so, crowded and so on. Yes, that's true. If you are talking about Dubrovnik, if you're talking about Split, if you're talking about Hvar Island, everybody knows these places if they are reading online and doing their research. However, there are so many islands, little towns, like this Rovinj, for example. Very little people know about this place. It's on Istria region, right next to Italy, right next to Venice. This is where the ferry actually comes from Italy. But it's a small, charming town from Venetian period, and it's actually one of the places with the best hotels in Croatia overall. Just a little example. Then we have many, many secluded villages as well, like this one, Motovun. It's famous for its truffles. It's just outside of Rovinj as well. Anthony Bourdain was here too, but Motovun Woods are the ones that are very famous for its truffles. Then we have Croatian Zagorje area, just outside of capital of Zagreb, that is full of castles. It's just so undiscovered. And if you get here any time of the year, it's basically going to be, maybe you'll be the only tourist that day too. So there is, what I'm trying to say here is that if you're, looking to Croatia, but maybe thinking, well, it's already too crowded with tourists, there are always areas that you can explore and that we can suggest that you can definitely avoid those crowded spots.
or if you've already seen those spots because you did like a cruise that hit a couple of them.
Exactly. You can always come back and go to these smaller, little intimate towns where it's going to be only locals or no tourists at all.
My gosh, that's so cool. So this is like all in like you go through like a guard, like up there, that Primostine or whatever.
Yeah. This is like a little island that's connected to the land via this artificially made bridge, whatever it's called. It's Primost, and it's pretty much only local, very few tourists know about this place, but it has gorgeous beaches, amazing, little restaurants inside of that little island. It has its own private marina. You see, it's only like maybe 10 boats that can dock here, mostly locals. So it's really, really intimate atmosphere. And those places are all over the country, all over the country.
The water is stunning. I mean, it literally looks like the water in Bora Bora.
Yeah, exactly. It's turquoise water all over the place.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And what Croatia it's really about, and why you see all the pictures about the seacoast and everything, it's definitely, if you're into boating and yachting, you have to come. We have in total about 1,200 islands in Croatia. So you can do, every day you can go to a different island, you can sail through all them all, and, you can find that spot for yourself where there's going to nobody around. So beach just for yourself and your friends on the boat. So that's really what's good about Croatia. Also, a lot of people ask us, why should we charter our own boat when we can go on a big cruise ship, for example? Well, that's true, but if you go on a big cruise ship, you will still stop at those islands that can accept bigger ships. So more crowded, more famous, more tourists, more whatever you want to call it. But the charm of Croatia, it's really visiting those little islands, that little intimate beach that's going to be just for yourself for that day, and so on. So chartering a boat is definitely a way to go. These are just some type of the boats that we can charter. So the entry level boat would be a sailboat. And you can,
right? You don't have to know how to sail.
no, they always come with the skipper and the crew. So yeah, you don't need.
I was sunfish when I was a kid, so
Yeah, but some people have a skipper license. So if you wish to charter it without a skipper, you can do so for a sailboat and the catamaran. Absolutely.
But this is like
So
that size boat you sleep on.
absolutely, you sleep on it. Yes, you can sleep either in marina, or you can dock on a bay and just sleep in a beach and just wake up to crystal clear waters. It's amazing. It's amazing experience. So the entry level of the charter would be the sailboat. Then the level up would be catamaran, like this, for example.
Oh yeah.
So this is most common way Americans, when they charter the boat, it's most of the time a catamaran, because it's very spacious. It has a huge common area inside and outside, and it's just more space. Americans and Canadians in general like bigger spaces. So sailboats may not be, sailboat may not be the one to go, but catamarans definitely would.
That front area on that, we just did this in Bora Bora. We rented this, and you sit on that front area and the water comes up. Yeah, and I get asked all the time, so where's my 2-bedroom suite in Europe? I'm like, you're not going to get a 2-bedroom suite in Europe.
Yeah, I think catamarans are amazing. They're not fast, so you cannot cover all 1,200 islands in one trip, but you can pick a very nice route, and you can cover a fair amount.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So then the next level up would be luxury yachts. You can cover any ground with this if you wish. It depends on pretty much how deep your pockets are, because these run.
I feel wealthier on
it. Yeah. I'm like, because these yachts run at about $5,000 and up per day, give or take. The yachts, the catamarans run about 3,000 to 4,000, and the sailboats 1,500 to 2,000 a day. So those are some of the, just so you have
people. They usually have 8 to 10 people on them. Yeah.
on the yachts usually go up to 10 people, catamarans go up to 12, and the sailboats go up to 8. So that's usually how they run.
They're great.
And motor yacht sailings, these are very popular. So you can do both sailing and use the motor to go around. Great for family reunions, bigger group of friends, or if Susan, if you ever plan on taking the group, this type of ship would be for you, because those actually run up to 10 cabins. So you can have up to 20 people on the ship. And all these vessels come with full crew, chef, waiters, so whatever you pretty much need to have a perfect vacation.
That's the only way to travel.
Yeah, exactly. And the last would be the goulettes. Those are becoming more and more popular in the past couple of the years. Those are actually traditional Turkish style boats. They come anywhere from 4 up to 7 cabins. Also great for family reunions, 2 or 3 family travelings together. But those are a little bit cheaper in price than for example the motor sail yachts that I mentioned before. And lastly, if you're into history and like to explore history and learn about it, Croatia is totally for it. In general, like I said, we've been influenced by many different nations over the year, which left a huge impact on our architecture, on our monuments, in our history. So we in total have 10 UNESCO sites as of today, and these are just some of it. The Frasian Basilica in Porridge from 3rd century. We have a St. James Cathedral in Šibenik as well. We have Trogir city, which is the full city is under the UNESCO protection site. We have Diocletian. So what?
I know what it is, but can you explain what the UNESCO protection does for these sites? I don't know if everyone on the call knows what that does. It's more of a newer term that we've heard.
Okay, so the UNESCO is actually the organization in the world that is protecting various monuments, various cultures, and keeping it intact in one place. So pretty much you cannot, if this is the UNESCO site, you cannot build anything in it, you cannot reconstruct it, you cannot touch it. All they do is giving their best to keep it as preserved as is for the time being. So these are
there's a process in becoming one. That's why there's areas that don't have it yet, because you submit, right?
Exactly. So Croatia submitted over the years since we became independent in 1991. I believe we submitted about 50 spots in Croatia to become under the UNESCO protection. And right now we have 10 that are protected. And we have on the waiting list, I think, about 5 or 6 more. And the rest of it, they didn't even consider about entering. Because the monuments, they need to have a huge impact on the history of the culture and the country. So that's really the reason behind it.
Yeah, I think that's great. I love it. I remember when I started hearing it, I was like, what is that? And everyone's like, it was the catchword. And I don't know if all the people that are on here have heard that before, but it does make it more impactful, because then you look at things and, we're looking at history. I mean, especially as Americans, we don't have things that are this old. So.
Yeah. So this is, for example, this Diocletian Palace was built by Roman Emperor Diocletian, and since then this is one of the most preserved Roman monuments in the whole world. So it's definitely worth visiting. What they did is, if you go through these doors upstairs, they actually built a little boutique small hotel in there. But they were forced not to touch anything, so you pretty much sleeping as the Diocletian was once sleeping. So that's really the reason behind it. And it's called Vestibule Palace. The hotel is called Vestibule Palace, so it's definitely worth staying there. Yeah, it only has 6 rooms, so it's really hard to get a room, but if you book long enough in advance, then you can definitely get it.
Nice. Because I mean, that could
It's
be
very
bad sleeping like them, you know?
no, it's nice. It's nice. They
Okay.
did
I like
they yeah. It's not like you're sleeping on the ground on the
like
stone. Yeah.
straw pillow. And here's your
Yeah, yeah.
car.
Yeah. They made it very nice. They made it very nice. It's definitely worth staying there.
Okay, good. That's good.
And then lastly,
Oh,
probably the most preserved, old city of all is Dubrovnik. The whole city walls from 13th century are under the protection of the UNESCO as well. And this is definitely, we call it the jewel of our tourism. So everybody who goes to Croatia goes to Dubrovnik. That's just a must see. And if you're Game of Thrones fans, this is where most of the Game of Thrones was filmed. And there was one comment from our guide who was part of it. He said that they loved Dubrovnik because they didn't really have to change much for the scenes, right? It's like they traveled in the past.
oh, that's
It's
awesome.
exactly like that. Yes.
Carrying knives and kill. I might literally would fall asleep and I'd hear, "Ooh."
Yeah. Yeah.
The whole time I would watch it, I'm like, oh, I'm so bummed I'm missing it.
Yeah. It's if you like Game of Thrones, then you will get
Oh,
thrilled for sure.
like, oh, they
For
killed
sure.
everyone. Bummer.
Yeah. And lastly, I would like to pinpoint how would, let's say, the itinerary for
Yeah,
first timers
that's a good
look like.
idea of a trip. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So firstly, we would land in Rovinj. That's in Istria region. We can either land in Venice and just take a ferry over, or we can use Pula for the airport here to land and go to Rovinj. While we are here, we have various options. We can go truffle hunting, we can go olive tasting, we can go grape picking and do the harvest, drink some great wine. There is one UNESCO site and also amazing sites to do any active activities outside of the Ravine city as well. Then we would move forward to Plitvice Lakes, right? We don't sleep here. It's not necessary to sleep, or we would just pass by, do the day trip, and then further continue down to Split. When we are in Split, we can do Game of Thrones sightseeing, or possibly if you're active, we can go rafting in Omiš, which is maybe 20 minutes away. We can visit Šibenik, which is also the UNESCO site. We can visit Krka National Park, which we saw previously as one of the options as well. So there's many options that we can do from here. Split is actually the main port in Croatia. So this is where all the ferries, catamarans, and all the public transportations to reach all the islands start from. Now from Split, we have two options. We can usually charter the boat and do this route via boat and sleeping on a boat, or we can do island hopping and sleeping in hotels as we go down to Dubrovnik. So this is the preference and the way that clients like to travel or don't. Next would definitely be Hvar, a must-see island. It's definitely the most luxurious island in Croatia of all. Many restaurants, lavender fields, amazing red wine. So it's definitely a place where people like to go out and party and have fun. It's very lively and vibrant island. Next, Korčula, a little bit more secluded. I would say the island that has the most beautiful beaches and hidden bays and secrets. So definitely a place to relax, not so much to party. And then we have Mljet National Park. That's the world phenomena that I was telling you about. The two lakes on top of the hill. That's that national park. And then we end lastly in Dubrovnik before we fly out. This trip usually would be anywhere from 10 to 12 days. And depending if we are taking the boat or not, we would change probably 2 or 3 hotels around the trip, or 2 hotels and 1 boat, for example, right? But it doesn't have to be jumping around from hotel to hotel every single day, but all these destinations can be, relaxedly seen as we travel and go along.
That's all. Now, question here. I know that you are on, I know you know the Katarina line, right? Do you have any type of boats like that, or are they more just chartered?
Okay, so Katarina Line does mass tourism. So they have boats with, 15, 20 cabins with set departures, and you just book a cabin and go from point A to point B. What we do is we do everything customized. So we don't do any set departures at all. So we only do custom trips and charters. Yes.
I want to see, it says, and so someone said, like, what on a trip like this, I know it's hard to figure out because of the private boat, but what is an average trip for something like that run around for two people, let's say?
For two, well, it depends. If we are doing this itinerary and we are doing it with a private boat, it can cost anywhere from $15,000 and up. That's not per person. That's total cost for two people. And that's probably with a catamaran, right? If you are going into yachts, then the price goes up. Correct. If we are doing that kind of trip and doing island hopping and sleeping in a hotels, then that price decreases down, and we can probably do it for anywhere between $8,000 and $10,000, up to $12,000 if we are booking all 5-star properties.
Yeah. And the other thing, as we're talking about when to go, I know you guys sell other countries. Are all the countries that you work with, are they easy to get to? Like, I know the number one that comes up is Montenegro, but are they easy to get to from there to Croatia also, or is that a difficult? Because like I remember when I was talking to you, and the trip, of course, got canceled because of COVID. And the people going on a cruise ending in Athens, and then they wanted to go to Montenegro, Croatia. And is it easy to get in between the countries, or do people fly, or is it something? I mean, or do you just try to, can they drive? Do people drive themselves, or is that not something that they really do?
Okay, self-drive. If you're doing one country, it's okay. If you are doing self-drive and want to go from country to country, that's not going to happen. It's not allowed. Most of the time, between, for example, Croatia and Athens, you would fly, but between any countries that are ex-Yugoslavian countries that I was pointing out, it's easy to do a private transfers between, and that's most of the time what we are actually doing. Private transfers between.
And that's what that trip was. It was a private transfer. That's awesome. So
yes.
And your transfers also are guides in a sense. They're telling you about the history. They know where they're going.
The drivers have a very good knowledge of the country, and our guides as well. Yes.
Yeah.
That's correct.
I was just say, when's the best time to go?
So definitely anytime between April and October, it's a good time to travel. July and August would be the worst times out of these months, because it's the most crowds, the higher prices, and it's of course high season. Best time to travel would be May, June, September, and October, because that's when we see majority of the Europeans who are, kids having school or are visiting the country for, sea and sun vacations, are gone out of the country, and you can, explore the country with less stress and less tourists. September, it's good if you're a foodie, because it's grape harvest, olive harvest, truffle season. So there are many, many, many food and wine festivals happening all over the country. So that's a time that I would suggest if you're, aiming to do that. Out of these months, the only time when I would actually suggest visiting Croatia would possibly be during the Christmas market. And every time you think of Christmas market, you probably think of, Austria or Germany or Switzerland or whatever. But Zagreb was actually the capital of Croatia, is actually named the best Christmas market in Europe for the past 3 years. So it's growing, it's big, it's fun. A lot of stands, food stands, a lot of festivals, a lot of events, a lot of concerts. So definitely end of December, actually mid of December to the mid of January, it's when the Christmas market is active, and the prices are actually kind of low. So it's a great value to visit the country during this time. So you don't want to visit only Zagreb, but when you're in Zagreb, you can also do exploring, around other cities as well, because prices are very, very low at that time of the year, and you can really see a lot. And most of the Americans that travel to Croatia are not mostly traveling for, swimming in the ocean, but are traveling for the history, for active vacation, for this and that. So this can all be done in the winter as well.
In the summer or the season, what's the temperature like and what's the water temperature like?
Okay, the water temperature, it's about 25 to 27 Celsius.
Yeah.
I think that's in 80s, I believe.
Yeah.
And the during the summer, it goes, 90s, even hundreds on the seacoast. But the good thing is that it's always on the seacoast. It's always very breezy, so you really don't feel that heat. It's not as humid as Florida, if you would compare it at all. It's you can actually handle it much easier on the seacoast here.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's good. I didn't know if it was cooler. You have the photo of the people on scuba, and of course they're wearing their suits. But I didn't realize. I never even think of you guys with scuba diving. I didn't think of you for all of the outdoor activities. I think of you for food. I think of you for history and beauty. But all those other extra things, that's amazing. I would,
There's a lot of, if you have anybody who likes scuba diving, we have many shipwrecks, many planes from World War I, World War II, that people are actually going and dive to and see. So it's really fun, really fun to dive.
He'd be so happy. That's his dream. His dream.
Really?
He just got the second the 100-meter certification.
There you go. Croatia, it's next place.
Like going in water where there's a wreck below you, I can't do that. It makes me think of Jaws.
Just about our sea, it's one of the clearest waters in the world.
That's amazing.
And there is no sharks, no jellyfish, pretty much no dangerous animals in the water. So people can really just enjoy themselves in the water without worrying at all.
Yeah, well, I wrote down a couple. I love the idea of after a river cruise or even a cruise that ends to add this on. Does anyone, I've been chatting, everyone's saying how beautiful it is. They're all surprised also. I think you guys somehow get a little bit missed when people have, I say this a lot with a lot of the big places, like I want to go to Bora Bora, I want to go to Santorini. When we just did the Greece thing and they were showing all the different islands, they're showing Crete and I'm going, gosh, I know nothing about Crete. Because all you see is Santorini when that's what everyone wanted to go to. And I'm like, this is a beautiful country. Does anyone, you are welcome to unmute yourself. Thank you, of course, Z, so much. But does anyone have any questions that you are specific that you would like to ask? He is in Croatia right now. He was kind enough to get on at nighttime. I didn't realize that. I thought you were in Ohio. I'm like, oh no, he's here and his family's there. So, but is there any questions that you guys have that you would love to ask about outside pricing, because we really have to build a trip. Like I'm building one right now, very specific. They're going with their kids, which is also a great trip, right? You can go with your kids and has a totally different vibe than I would go with my husband.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Croatia in the past years invested a lot in luxury hotels, but also in a family type hotels and resorts. So there is a lot of fun things to do with kids when you travel, for sure.
So you feel free if you want to ask any questions. I'll be quiet, believe it or not. Nothing. You did such a good job.
No questions. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, no. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to email this off to everyone, reminding them that they can, of course, get a free night. And we're just going to have to wait and see when everything opens up. Europe is my one area that I'm starting to get questions about. And I just tell people, look, we want to make sure, like you said, I love that we get a fully refundable deposit. That's what we look for, is we want to give our clients some options, because the hardest part of COVID has been for everyone when they're like, hey, sorry, and you have a future credit, and then now they've lost their job and they're frustrated that they have $10,000 on a trip that they can't get back. They can go someday, but they're like, well, when am I going to go on vacation? And they're scared and stuff like that. So I think we're going to see a lot in the next couple months happen with what happens when you guys start traveling in between each other. I think Europe handled this a lot better than we did. You shut down quicker than we did and didn't. You're smaller, but then seeing if we get a second wave. But I can't wait to explore this myself and go. And this is so beautiful. And I really can't wait to get my clients there and have them tell me how awesome it is. So I appreciate you staying up late and sharing this with us. And if nobody has any questions, you can, of course, contact me. But thank you so much. Oh, wait, okay, Al. You could have talked, Al. He says, if you only had 4 days,
Okay.
and what are the best places and things to do?
Well, that's like I said, it's, Croatia has so many different reasons to visit. So it will definitely depend on what you're looking for. If you're into history, it will put you in one place. If you like, active vacation, in another. But definitely, I think whoever travels to Croatia definitely needs to visit Dubrovnik. And out of Dubrovnik, we can do various day trips. But if you only had 4 days, I would definitely recommend Dubrovnik area to stay in.
Yeah, and then that's, Al, you guys would probably like, you foodies, you'd like the food and the alcohol, wine and stuff like that. And you could do a lot from there and stay at a great place.
Yeah. I mean, the food and wine aspect of the country, you can really see from any destination. Yeah. It will, of course, differ from area to area. But, the experience, the must-see, it's definitely Dubrovnik. It's a must-see place for sure.
Beautiful. Awesome. Yeah. Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope I get to see you at some conference soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. They're saying that the show, the GTM, will happen in September. I'm not sure if you're going, but if it does, I'm happy to see you.
I might come down because it's in Tucson. I have to skip a year. You're only allowed to go 2 years. You have to skip.
Okay,
I'm going to the romance travel one, but I'm skipping a year. But I will be back. So I love that one. It's my favorite. But I might come down with my friends because everyone's going to be there and come the night before and say hi to you guys.
Maybe you'll come to Croatia before that.
Oh, I would love to.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Bye.